Welcome to our Pilates Mat Masterclass. So here I have the wonderful Beck. She'll be doing the class for me today while I just chat. I'm just going to talk the whole time. Beck's going to do the stuff. I'm going to do very minimal so that I can take you through all the exercises that I've chosen to make a dynamic and challenging Pilates mat class. So we're all about dynamic movement and how to make the class challenging. So I'm going to go through little points that I've picked so that you can get that. We're using ankle weights today. So I'm going to do the whole class with ankle weights on as a challenge, so to add that challenge in, but you'll hear me throughout it giving permission to Beck to take them off whenever she wants to, like you don't have to have them on the whole time. And then we also have 2 kilo weights. So for your class, you can say, you can have 2 kilo weights, 1 kilo weights if you're not up to the 2 kilo yet. So already you're kind of giving the option for those maybe more beginners and then those more advanced clients in your class to really step it up a notch if they want it. But, you know, 2 kilos are there if you want, and Beck's going to use 2 kilos. I've just put them, I didn't even give her the option. All right, so we're going to get started. Beck, you're going to take a lie down onto your back. So you can come onto the ground and knees are bent. You can relax your hands by your side. Just close your eyes. Take a nice deep nourishing breath in through the nose and exhale, let it all go. So I always love starting my classes with a little bit of breath connection, a little moment to kind of have that bit of quietness before we then get into the class. This is a really nice way of bringing people inside and connecting with their bodies, you know, because they've been on the phone or through emails and kids and all that stuff before they come into the class. So a few really nice deep breaths in here. Give your body a little scan, see how you're feeling today. If you're not 100%, that's a-okay. I'm going to give you lots of options in your class. You choose the option that's right for you. You don't have to go gangbusters. Just find that level that is right for your body today. All right, we'll go for one more deep breath in. And then exhale, letting go. Take a little roll onto your right side. Your knees will come up, so you create kind of like a little 90-degree angle with those legs. And then just bring that top arm all the way over so that you close your body in half. Deep breath in, exhale, open that top arm all the way out. Find that nice chest opening. Use that eye line to look towards the hand and then closing all the way back in. So we're going to go for a few more rounds here. The reason I love to put the knees together and the ankles together in that kind of 90 degrees is that you feel the rotation more in your thoracic. Sometimes when you tuck the feet down with in line with the hips, sometimes it gets really lower backy. How's that feeling, Beck? Good? Yeah. So sometimes it just brings it a little bit more into your thoracic rather than your lower spine, which that's where you want to find the rotation. All right, we'll go for one more. A big rotation out, hold it out. And then when you're ready, let your legs flow, find your center. And your feet can come down to the floor. Hands are nice and wide. You can either go palms up or palms down, wherever you find that really nice openness through the chest. And then feet just as wide as your hips. We're going to come into a little glute bridge. So roll through the pelvis first. Lift your hips, rolling up. Find your glute bridge position. And then rolling back down one vertebrae at a time. So for this one, you can either have your hands beside you or your arms out to the side or on a diagonal. I don't mind where you have your hands. Some people who are feeling tight through the chest, sometimes they like to go really open, but it also depends how busy your class is. We obviously have a lot of space here. You may not be able to get that range for everyone, or they might need to stagger a little bit on their mats. So with this one, what I'm focusing on is opening up through the hips and the thighs, getting the glutes starting to fire and getting that kind of posterior chain of the body really starting to work. I love glute bridges for warm-ups because it really does all the right things. It opens the chest, gets the back chain working, opens all the way through the front. We'll go for one more, rolling to the top, finding that glute bridge, little pause at the top. And then exhale, we're rolling all the way back down. Take a little roll onto your left side, find your little kind of fold, folding your body in half, and then we open that top arm up and over, finding that rotation through the body, and then closing that arm all the way back in. We'll go for a couple more rounds here. I love adding rotation into the beginning of my classes because it really gets the spine really nice and ready for your class. We tend to not do much rotation through the day, so you definitely at some point in your warm-up, you're obviously aiming to work through all 3 planes of movement, but you really want to get that spine rotation in. It's going to feel so good on people's bodies. We'll go for one more here. When you're ready, opening up through that arm, finding that openness through the chest, take a deep breath in, and then when you're ready, let your legs roll back to center. Feet are onto the ground. You can bring your hands down by your hips. We're coming into single leg lift, so right leg comes to tabletop, and then the left leg, then the right leg goes back down, sorry, and then left leg to tabletop, and then lowering back down. So we're just gonna go from side to side. What I'm introducing here is trying to keep the pelvis really nice and grounded, so tailbone grounded, working into the natural curve of your lower back. So trying not to imprint if people can work in their natural curve rather than an imprint position. Obviously imprints there if they need to take it out of their lower backs a little bit. All right, we're gonna go for a lift, lift, lower, lower. So lift the right leg, hold, lift the left leg, hold, and then lower the right, and then lower the left, and then you alternate. So left leg will lift first this time, and then the right, and then lower the left, lower the right. Beautiful. We'll go for a few more here. Those ankle weights are going to add a little bit more. So I'm going to tell my class now, your ankle weights are on for your whole class today. Whenever you do not want them, you can take them off whenever you like. I'll give you little reminders through your class, but otherwise, if you want that challenge through the whole class today, you're keeping those ankle weights on. Let's go for 2 more here, starting to really engage into that core. Beautiful. And last one, let's lift those legs to tabletop and hold. Arms come out to the side. We squeeze the knees together, squeeze the ankles together. You're taking a little rotation, so knees draw over towards the right side. You pick your left hip up, and then exhale, we bring it back through center. And then we take it to the other side. Little rock, lifting the right hip up, and then bringing it back through center. Really squeezing knees together as much as you can. Excellent job. So I've kind of prepped her rotation or her spine before coming into this exercise. I'm just going to bring your legs a little further forward. Like, oh. But like you do you. If you need to bring them in a little bit, you can. Yeah. I also love starting my classes a little slower, and then as we go on, you're going to see it get a little bit more amped up. So I love to just prepare the body, try not to shock people too much into it, and then as we go on, you're going to start to see these more dynamic movements. You're going to start to see a little bit more of a faster pace as well. So we're working with tempo, slow tempo, and fast tempo. Last one, let's bring it back to center, hold. Hug your knees in towards your chest, grab underneath your thighs. We're taking a few little rocks back and forth through the spine, so you can start to take a little rock and roll through the spine. Each time you come into your little seated position, find that little balance. Becca's doing it already, wonderful. Take a few little roll outs. Maybe you take your hands away if you want a little bit more. Little rock back, beautiful. And then finding that balance at the top. Excellent, we're gonna go for 2 more here. Excellent. And then last one, little rock back, find your balance at the top and hold. Maybe those arms reach forward, maybe they lift up overhead just for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees and feet come down, sweep your legs off to the side. We'll come into a 4-point kneel position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Extend your right leg out behind you, find that extension, then bring that knee back in. And then to the left side, left leg extends out, and then drawing back in. So looking for that really nice length through that lower back, that little lift into those lower abdominals so that we're not kind of arching or caving through that lower back. Everyone's bodies are going to feel going to look a little different here because of different spine positions, different curves in our spine. What you want to work for here is just watching that they're not waddling from side to side. All right, start to extend your opposite arm forward each time you find that extension of the leg. Beautiful, and bring it back in. We'll go for a few more here. So starting to really engage into the core, starting to really find that kind of stability and adding a little bit of upper body stuff in as well. So 4-point kneel stuff is kind of like whole body. Your whole body is working really. A few more rounds here, and then we'll take some holds. Each time they reach the arm forward, really cue that shoulder blade to draw down, down, down into their back pocket, and then you'll kind of get more into your lower traps rather than feeling the lift come up from your shoulder or your upper trap. That's just going to really help people find that length through the neck. They're going to not grip into their traps, and then hopefully we'll start to get them engaging into their lower traps a little bit more, which are more of a lazier muscle or harder to get to. Last one, let's reach it forward and hold it forward. You're taking a little opening out to the side, so leg and arm to the side and then back to center. We keep going. You open as far to the side as you want to open. It is totally up to you. Work with your breathing. Keep that little engagement through the lower abdominals, nice and strong through that supporting arm. You've got another 2. Beautiful. And last one, little opening to the side. Hold it there. Bring it back to center. Plant your back toe down. Swivel turn towards the right. We take a big reach up and over. Find that beautiful lateral flexion. Reach it up, lift that leg. We take a little rotation, a little lateral flexion, and then lifting it up. I'm going to try and demonstrate as little as possible. Obviously, in a group class setting, I'm probably going to demonstrate a little bit more than what I would here, just because Beck knows a lot of cues. So she's followed me very easily to begin with. Let's see how that goes through the class. Last one, lift the leg, hold, swivel turn, find your 4-point kneel position once again, and lower that leg back in. Straight to the other side, left leg out, right arm forward. We find that little open to the side, and then drawing back to center. Nice. A few more rounds to go here, and then we'll pretty much do the exact same thing. Looking good. Nice work, Beck. We've got another 2. And last one, bringing it back to center, plant your back toe, plant your hand, swivel turn to face me. We take that big reach up and over, and then lowering down, take that little lift of the leg. So the leg just lifts as high as you want to lift. You're going to have people who have all different ranges in their body. So I really like to just go for whatever feels good. Their leg doesn't have to go high. It can just come off the ground. It's whatever's good for their range and their hips. Last 2. And last one, planting that hand down, swivel turn, find your 4-point kneel. Bring both knees down to the mat, tuck your toes, take a little hover of your knees, then tap them back down. Little hover of the knees and then tapping them back down. A few more rounds to go here. Last 4, last 3, 4, 2. Little hover of your knees, hold. Can you extend your right leg back? And then extend your left leg back, finding your little plank. Now bend your knees to take your hips back towards your heels a little, yep, and then shoot back forward to find your plank. Let's go nice and quick now. Little press back, reaching forward. Little press back, reaching forward. As you take your press back, try and get your knees as close to the ground as you can. I want you low, low, low. Yes, good. So as you know, now we're starting to make it a little bit more punchier, yep. So we've kind of done our core activation, we've moved our spine in really beautiful ways. Now I'm going to start to pick that tempo up a little bit more now that we're nice and warm, and you'll start to see me flowing from slow tempo to fast tempo movements to create that dynamic change in class and to create that challenge. A little bit faster, Beck, can we? Last 4, she's like, how much longer? Last 3, 4, 2, and last one, press forward, bottom up to the sky, walk your feet in towards your hands, grab your weights on the way up, take a little roll up through your spine, feet go a little bit wider so they're about as wide as your shoulders. We're going to take a little squat, so hands come to the shoulders, we take a nice little squat down, exhale to lift it up, little squat down, and exhale to lift it up. Nice job. Feel like you're trying to rip the floor apart so you get more into those outer glutes, that gentle little lift through those lower abdominals. Looking really nice here. You've got another 4. Beautiful. Last 3, 4, 2. On your next one, down, stay down and hold it there. We take a lift up, take your left leg behind, little curtsy lunge, take it out, find your squat. Take that left leg behind, little curtsy, and finding your squat. So we're starting to find an exercise combination of our squats to our curtsies. This is a really nice way to pick up your heart rate. This is a really nice way to get people's bodies really working before we go into some more slow tempoed work as well. Looking good, we can go for another 2. And last one, find your curtsy hold. Extend the arms out and then lift up, find a little bicep curl. Extend the arms down, little lift to find your bicep curl. We're going to take a little add on here. So each time you reach those arms up, I want you to take a little tap out to the side and then find your curl. Little tap to the side and lower down. Then find a reach up overhead and then find your curtsy. So whenever you do little combinations of exercises, especially when you're moving arms and legs at the same time, just try and layer it on one at a time. Give people option. Maybe they just stay in their curtsy to bicep curl. They don't have to go to the toe tap or the overhead press, especially if there's shoulder injuries there. So always try and layer up your movements so that you appeal to everyone in your class, but for your more advanced clients, you're giving them that little bit extra so that they really feel those exercises. Let's go for another 2. Beautiful. And last one, let's take it down, hold it down. Keep that little hinge forward, really stick your little tushy out here. We're taking a little bend of those elbows and then a tricep press. A little bend and tricep press, nice job. See if you can bend a little deeper into that front knee. Keep that lift through those lower abdominals. Beck's like, no thank you, I'm good where I am. You find that challenge that works for you. This is a nice reminder for people to find the weights that work for them. They can pop the weights down if they need to. Last 4, doing so well for 3. Last 2. Last one, just a little bend in your elbows, hold. We take a little bend through the legs, little lift. Little bend through the legs, little lift. Beautiful. See if you can reach those elbows a little further past you, just so we get that little engagement into our mid-back, almost like a little row position. Work with your breathing. So see now how we've really dropped that tempo and we're going for really small, controlled movements. Beck's like my favorite. Last 4 for 3. Last 2, sink low, hold it there, lift on up, arms come to halfway, you reach your top heel up and then tap it back down. Top heel lifts and tap it back down. Beautiful. Keep those lower ribs in. Try not to bobble your head, so when you lift your heel, you work into your thigh more. I would only do this to very special people. I'm not just going to be like, stop moving your head. But if you have your mirrors, that's a nice way to be like, look at your head in the mirror, try not to bobble your head. You want your knee to bend more each time you lift your heel. Good. How are you feeling, Beck? Last 4, yeah. For 3, nearly there. Last 2. Last one, heel comes down. Can you sink low? Little tiny pulses into those legs. Breathe through it, doing so well. You've got 4 for 3, for 2, for 1. Step it in. Find your squat and lift. Big squat and lift. So finding that kind of like bigger movement after all those tiny little pulses and holds and things like that is going to feel good. Your heart rate's still going to be up, but this is going to be quite welcomed after all of those tiny little movements. Last 4, looking good for 3. Last 2, work with that breath. Last one, sink low and hold. We place the weights down to the ground, plant your hands, step your knees back, find your 4-point kneel position. Right leg kicks on out behind you, so keep the knee bent. We reach it up to the sky and then tap that knee back down. Nice little donkey kick. Excellent. So it's nice to also change up your levels and your layers a little bit. If I went straight into legs on the other side, that's pretty hardcore. It's going to be quite challenging because both thighs were working a lot. Right glute was working really hard, so now I'm going to still work into the right glute here. So I haven't really given the glute too much of a switch off. I'm just working more into extension rather than stabilizing. I'm still working the lower body, but this is going to feel a bit more welcomed than your standing stuff. So it gives them a bit of relief because you've changed positions, but you're still really challenging the body. Now you've got those ankle weights on. If you hate them, take them off, but if you can keep them on for this little sequence, we'll go for 2 more. And last one, lift that leg and hold. Left elbow comes down to the ground. You do a little rotation. So my knee rotates to the side, tap my ankle to ankle, and then lifting that leg back up. Little tap ankle to ankle, and then lifting back up. Your glute max really loves to do external rotation, abduction, and extension, and this is what this position is. So Beck's little tushy should start to fire up a lot more in this position. How's it going? Good, yes. Good. Work with that breath, keep that gentle lift through that lower waist, looking so good. So again, we kind of brought it down. Now I'm taking the tempo a little slower again, so working on those more controlled movements before we then come back up to standing, and we're going to go into kind of that whole sequence again on the other side. So it's nice to work like one whole side, then the other whole side as like a whole circle sequence. You don't always have to do your standing stuff, one leg, then the other, and then come down, do one leg, then the other. Yeah. Last two. Beck's like, stop talking. Last one, lift and hold. Now that knee comes behind your bottom leg, taps to the ground, and then I want you to shoot your leg up and out. Nice. Little tap down behind, and then big reach up and out. Nice job. If you can take that leg a little further in front of you as well as you take that little reach, yes. Beautiful. Good job. A few more rounds to go. How are you going, Beck? I'll get my payback one day. I'll be in her class one day and I'll absolutely die, I'm sure. Last two. Yeah. Last one, lift up and hold it there. Now, can you find a balance and reach that right arm up and open? Beautiful. Reach it over your head. Now, pull your knee and elbow together, then reach it out. Nice and quick now. Bring it in, press it out. Bring it in, press it out. So again, we're opting for that a little bit faster paced movement now. So it's really nice to chop and change between your slow tempo, your controlled, especially with Pilates, which is traditionally a little bit more controlled. But then to make it dynamic, you're adding in faster tempoed stuff. A little bit faster, Beck. Last four, yes. For three, good. Last two. Last one, stretch it out, hold it out, little pulses up and up, just for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Turn, find your center, keep that right leg behind. Oh, you can tap the toes to the ground. We're going to come into some triceps before we get into our work standing again on the other side. So hands under shoulders. We take a bend of the elbows. You take your nose between your hands and then you lift all the way back up. So at the moment, those right toes can stay on the ground. That's your option number 1. Option 2 is that right leg floats as you take that lower and your lift. With that right leg floating, you're going to feel it a little bit more through your right arm because it has to kind of close and stabilize. You're feeling it more in the right, Beck? Yeah, good. So you're going to load up that right leg a little bit more. If the left knee is not feeling good, you can roll up your mat for a little bit of extra cushioning. Is your knee feeling okay? Yeah, cool. So you can always give that option to your clients, or both knees in. Or those toes stay down. Beck, you can absolutely keep the toes down if you like. Last two, yeah, you go there. Last one, take it down, hold it there. Your elbows are just off your mat. Beautiful. Now, can you take your nose further forward from your fingers and then just rock just a little bit back? Good. Little forward, little back. Little forward, little back. Just a few more rounds to go here. Try and get your elbows a little closer to the mat. Last 4. This one is deadly. 3, 2, reach it forward, hold. Stretch up through those arms, tuck your toes, hover your knees. Oh, it just doesn't end. Extend one leg out at a time. Now take your bend, heels towards, bum towards your heels, push forward to find your plank. Nice and quick, nice and fast. Let's make it snappy. Yes, good. Now here I would be like, if you need a little break, if you need a little drink, you are welcome to take a little break, a little child's pose if you need it. But if you want to keep going with this class, you are doing what Beck's like, I want a child's pose. Last 2. And last one, bottom high to the sky. Yes, take a little break, Becky. All right, and start to walk your feet towards your hands. You grab your weights as you roll up. So we pretty much do that entire thing on the other side. All right, when you're ready, hands by shoulders, feet a little wider, so about as wide as your shoulders. You take your squat and lift, big squat and lift. So this is just preparing people before they come into the other side. Because we did a little bit of upper body on the ground as well and glutes, upper body is still going to work here, but you kind of just get that little bit of a break while those hands are by the shoulders. You're not on your all fours, so this is going to feel good when we come into the triceps and things like that after being like holding ourselves on the ground. Last two. And last one, sink and hold. We lift up, take your little curtsy and then find your squat again. So your little combo of your little curtsy and then your squat. We're going to go for a few more of these. You're welcome to stay here. Otherwise, on your next few, we take a little squat and then we take a little tap to the side. We find our little curtsy, little tap to the side. Once you're ready, we press those arms up and then we take those arms down. So finding your little bicep curl to shoulder press. If you want a little more, you can hover that right toe just off the ground. You do not have to, but that is an option for your clients. Of course, you have those ankle weights on, so that little hover is going to feel really nice, isn't it? It's going to feel so delicious on the body. Yeah. She's like, I'll show you a couple, but I'm going to go to where it feels good. Which is good. Sometimes the hardest things to do in classes is not take the hardest option. I feel like when you're an instructor, you're like, nah, I'm good. But sometimes as a client, they're like, no, I want to go to the end. I want to take that hardest option. That's why leveling up is really good, not leveling down. You'll find that less people go to the top when you level up in good form, rather than everyone starting at the hard option, and less people will come down because they feel like they're failing. Last two. Doing so well. Last one, let's find our curtsy, hinge forward, so really stick that bottom out towards me, and then we find our tricep press, so reaching those arms and then bending in. So with your triceps, what you want to look for is your shoulder. You really want the tips of the shoulder to be really nice and open, so they're nice and kind of open through their collarbones, and it's almost like a little engagement in between their shoulder blades, so you're working into those back muscles here as well. Ooh. If you can, pitch a little further forward, bend into your front knee a little more. You definitely don't have to. Last two. And last one, you hold your elbows just at halfway, but try and lift your elbows a little higher. We take a little bend, we take a little lift. We take a little bend, we take a little lift. Always watch knees in your curtsies. So just watch that. Beck has really good form, obviously. She is an instructor. I would hope. But you'll see like weird things with knees, like feet facing this way but knees going that way, or feet facing that way but knees going forward. So really just watch their front knee on these ones. You always want knees tracking the same direction as those ankles and toe number 2 and 3. Last two. Last one, sink low, hold. Now flip those palms, we lift on up, finding that halfway hold. Lift the front heel, lower the front heel. And now this is where you start to get really motivating. Maybe you turn that music up, maybe you walk around and you get nice and low. Can you get that back knee a little closer to the ground? Change your pitch and your tone. That's going to really help people find those last few reps that they don't think they have, but they definitely have. Can you get lower, Beck? Last two. And last one, heel down, little pulses as low as you can go. Then you're back into your squats in 4, 3, 2, 1. Find your squat. Press it up. You can just hold those weights at those shoulders if you like. Excellent job. Now squats are still really hard, but this feels nice after all those little, small, controlled movements. So that's why it's really nice to work with big range movements, small range movements, and then finding different tempos. So you're slow, controlled, and then you're faster. All right, last two. And last one, bend your knees, pop your weights down, plant your hands, step your knees back, find 4-point kneel. Left leg now kicks up behind you. We find that little donkey kick, so keeping that, knee bent and then tapping the knee back down. Beautiful. And this is a nice place to be like, reset, take a sip of water if you need to, find that 4-point kneel position. My cueing is really quite quick into the setups so that my regular clients are like boom, 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 done, straight into it. But for those people who are going to take a little longer to get there, that's also so fine. Like if they take till about now to start their reps, no dramas. It's a group class. Everyone can go at their own pace. They're going to join you when they can join you. Always give permission in the start of your class, especially when you're teaching dynamic and challenging classes. Just be like, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to give you a break. You break whenever you want to break in the class. Like you find that moment. If you need to have a sip of water, I'm not going to come over and be like, slap it out of your hand. You can take, could you imagine? I didn't tell you. They can have a sip of water whenever they like. But people won't unless you like literally give them the opportunity, like you say to them, you can drink whenever you want to drink. Last two. And last one, lift and hold, right elbow or right forearm comes down to the ground. You find that little rotation and then you tap ankle to ankle and then press all the way up. Nice job. Beautiful. Looking so good. So working into that left glute now a little bit more. So we did all our standing kind of like thigh work, and now we're kind of fine tuning it, going a little bit deeper into our glute muscles, creating that beautiful balance. We did biceps, we did shoulder presses, so into the front of the body. We've been like stabilizing in our 4-point kneel positions. So we've done that front chain, we've done all of our triceps and our back work. So we're kind of finding that whole balance in the class. And then don't forget after this one, we've got the triceps still. Last two. Yes. Last one. Lift up and hold. You're taking that knee behind your bottom leg, little tap, and then shoot that leg out, big kick forward. Nice. Little tap behind. Obviously, Beck has beautiful range. People's feet may only come to about here. They may only be just a little bit off the ground. That's okay. People will find the range that works for them, yeah? So everyone will have their own range. They stick to whatever they need to stick to. A few more rounds to go. Work with that breathing, last two. And last one, extend that leg out, hold, find that balance, reach that left arm forward. Now nice and quick, we pull it in and out, pull it in and out. So taking that tempo that little bit faster, keeping that energy high, keeping that heart rate nice and lifted because you're moving compound movements, two things at once. A few more, you've got to. And last one, reach it out, hold, lift that leg, little pulses up and up and up, just for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Swivel turn. Shake it out if you need to, but keep that left leg behind. We've got our triceps. So bending into those elbows, taking those elbows towards the ground, and then lifting back up. Beautiful. Find that little position that works for you. Sometimes if people feel it in their wrists and their elbows, going just a little bit wider than shoulders can often help them, but you want your elbows to point back towards your knees. See how Beck's elbows point this way, not out to the side. It is not a chest press. We're working into your triceps. It may look like it will be easy. It's such a hard exercise. Now, if you want that extra level, that leg lifts up behind you. Just do a few, because you only did a few on the other side, and then you can bring your knee back. See? And then that like ankle weight just really doesn't make it any better. All right, you can bring both knees in now. Yeah, we just got a couple more to go. Yeah. This is your modification. We're just showing you all options. Last two. And last one, hover your elbows just off your mat. Hold it there, hold it there. Can you go a little further forward? Hold for 4, 3, 2. Press your arms straight, tuck your toes, little lift of the knees and tap, little lift of the knees and tap. We're gonna lie down on our backs very, 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 very soon. This is the last kind of like punchy part of the exercise before, like, I mean, you don't get to lie down and relax. we're going to be working our core, but, you know, last two, break when you need to break. Last one, hover your knees and hold. Step your right leg back, your left leg back, nice and quick. Hips back and forward. Hips back and forward. Keep it going. Last 10. You've got 10, and I want you to go as fast as you can, because the faster you go, the quicker it is. I know. Get those knees a little closer to your mat. Last 5. This is it. Keep going. 4. Yes. 3. You've got this. For 2. Yes. And last one. Knees down. Ugh, collapse. Take a little seat onto your bottom, flick those legs around in front of you. Now this is where you give the option. You can take your ankle weights off if you like, or you can do your core sequence with your ankle weights on. Beck, I'll let you decide. You do what you want to do. If you want them off halfway through, just yell, I'll take them off. All right, sitting down, legs come out in front, hands behind your thighs. We take a lean back and then draw forward. So you're keeping your spine really nice and straight, and it's like a hinge from the hips leaning back and up rather than finding that curl. We'll go for another 2. And last one, leaning back, holding there. Your right arm lifts up by your ear and then bring it back down behind the leg, and then to the left side. Now if you want a little bit more, both arms are up so you're not holding the back of your legs. So find, I mean, you can if you want to, you just do you. Like, I'm gonna check myself for a moment. Keep that chest nice and open, so you'll see people will want to cave through the chest here. You really want to keep the chest open, and then I'm going to get Beck's chin to lift up just a little so her eye line comes up more on a diagonal. Can you feel that that was like a little harder? Yeah, because your head is quite heavy. So if you bring it forward, it kind of counterbalances you a little bit. If you try and keep your head back in line with your spine, it's actually going to make it harder on your core. And you can get a bit shaky on this one. Like sometimes your body like uncontrollably shakes. If you want more, both arms lift up towards the sky. Keep that chest nice and open. Try and keep your eye gaze up on that little diagonal. Last 2, yes. Last one, lift those arms, hold it there. You only lift as high as you want to lift. Remember, you can just bring them a little further forward if you need to. See if you can lean back 1 more inch. Maybe 1 more inch, yeah, so you get shaky back there, like even the strong people. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it up, grab under the legs, little roly-polies. So you're going just like the start of class, little rock back, and then rock on up, finding that little balance. Yeah, good. So good. Just like, fun. I love doing these. It's like a little seesaw. It's like you're a little child again. Like, when do you ever do this? Last 2, like as an adult. And last one, come back up, find your hold, find your balance. Maybe your legs lift to tabletop, maybe your arms come forward, maybe your legs straighten, maybe your arms lift. You find what works for you. We're going to slowly take body and legs down at the same time. So you can bend your knees if you need to, do whatever you need to do. We're going for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can release it down. Bend your knees on up. Beautiful. Hands come down by your side, just like the start of class. We're going for a single leg lift. So right leg lifts, then lowers, then left leg lifts, then lowers. So coming back to similar exercises or kind of like repetitions, but building on each time. So we're going to make this a little bit harder than what it was at the beginning of the class. Is really nice because people have already been here. You can spend a little less time on cueing. You can just like give them a little like release, so you can stop talking for a little bit, just give them a bit of space, and really get them to tune in with their bodies. They're also getting a second time of doing something. All right, so we're gonna focus now just on the right leg lifting, but take your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers. When your right leg lifts, you take a curl forward, and then your toes come down, little tap to the ground as your head and shoulders come down. And then we go again, curling it in, beautiful, and then releasing it down. Gorgeous. So this is your kind of option, people can come back to the single leg lift so they don't have to lift head, neck, shoulders if they have any like neck injuries or neck sensitivities, things like that. Or you can just do the curl without the leg lift, so keeping both feet on the ground. I love to give those two options because some people prefer to keep the head and shoulders down. They don't like doing the curls if it feels wrong on their neck. So it's really nice giving that option. Next option is left leg is in tabletop as you continue with your, so left leg stays in tabletop and then you'll lift your right leg up as you curl. Curl forward, yeah. And then tap it back down, yeah, good. You're like, no. Yeah. I also love giving like sometimes opposites of what people usually do as well. So sometimes you curl forward and do the toe tap at the same time. Like I love changing it around because people's brains have to work. Last two. And last one, lift on up and hold. Left leg can either stay in tabletop or bring it back to the ground. I want you to take a little reach over towards your right leg, reach your left arm long, beautiful, bring it back to center, keep going. Reach it across and center. Let's go a little faster. Reach and center, big reach and center, nice. Breathe, try and stay up in that curl each time you find that center position. So again, finding those slow movements, but now we're working a little higher into that tempo. Keep it breathing, last 4, good. Last 3, find that rotation from the ribs, 2. And last one, reach over, hold it there, little pulses across, across, across. If you want a little more, take that right toe a little closer to the ground and hover it just for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Good. Bring it back in. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Take a little rock from side to side, whatever works. We have to do that whole thing on the other side. Good, 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 good. So fun. We're nearly there. All right, when you're ready, left leg comes to tabletop as we take that curl forward and then lower it back down as you lower the head, neck, shoulders down. Nice. Tailbone's nice and heavy, hips are nice and heavy, working with that breath, closing that gap of your ribs to hips each time you find that curl forward. It's really nice in core to just like give people a little bit of space as well. So sometimes I like to take my cueing out a little bit once they're kind of in the movement. I've said all of that I've needed to say. There's tactile cues that I've needed to do. And just like put the music loud. This is the last little bit of the class. So it's nice to just like let them listen to the movement, do their curls, do their core work, get them to the very, very end. All right, last 2. And last one, lift and curl, hold it there. Now you're taking that reach across to the outside of the leg and back to center. Nice, little reach across and back to center. So Beck's keeping her pelvis really nice and still. That rotation comes from her thoracic or where her rib cage is. Now next option, right leg comes to tabletop. And then each time she lowers back to center, she takes that left toe back to the ground and then brings it back through. Yeah, I know, brain stuff again. Beautiful. Try not to lower to the ground each time though if you can. See if you can make it a little faster. Reach and down and reach and down. Here I am just like, keep going. And Beck's like, woo! Last 4, so close. For 3, you're nearly there. Last 2, and last one, reach it across, hold it there. Maybe this toe just floats just off the ground, little pulses forward. Breathe, nice, really drawing in and really connecting into the side of that waist. Breathe it out, last 4, for 3, for 2, hold it there, legs to tabletop, both hands behind your head, really quickly, little bicycles, side to side to side. I love finishing with a nice little burner, just to keep going. Option to keep both feet down, of course. Option to keep legs at tabletop. You don't have to do the leg extensions. Let's go nice and quick for your last 10 seconds. Keep it moving. Yes, yes, yes. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can bring it. I love ending people like that. Like that. Stretch your legs out, stretch your arms overhead. Take a really nice deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Bend your knees up. Flip your legs over to the right side or roll onto the right side of your body. Just like the starter class, we're going to go into our chest opening. Yeah. Just like, that's exactly what I want. Beautiful. Find that opening through the chest and bring it back in. We're going to go for 2 more here. And then I'll just get you to hold it. And last one, big rotation. Hold it there. Just let it feel good. Let them relax. Trying to feel both shoulders melt into the mat. They can close their eyes. Take that eye line across if it feels good on the neck. And as they inhale, really trying to expand into the side of the rib cage. And when they exhale, trying to feel that kind of like more softness into their twist as well. We'll go for 1 more deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. And then coming back through center, so moving those knees across, find your center. Both feet flat on the ground. We'll do a few hip rolls, so rolling through the pelvis, lifting the hips up, and then rolling 1 vertebrae at a time all the way back down. Arms are just like wherever they want them to be. Sometimes I like to do overhead or straight out to the side or by the hips. I let them just like put their arms where it feels good. It's really nice to do kind of like little hip rolls or bridges, especially after all your crunching stuff, because we were quite flexed for a long period of time. So this just opens up that front chain. Last one, big reach up, and then maybe even lifting your hips higher than that diagonal line if it feels good, just so you get that openness through the hips, and then rolling back down. And then just taking a little roll onto your left side. And let's find our little chest opening. Finding that open through the hips, through the spine. And then back in. Beautiful. 2 more here. And then you can just hold and relax. And last one, opening out. Finding that hold. Close the eyes. Breathe into the side of that rib cage. Really try and feel that expansion. Exhale, let it all go. Again, finishing off the class pretty much the same way I started it. You'll have to do less cues. It helps with the flow. People now know what to expect so they can enjoy the movement better. You know, the first time we ever do something, usually we're not the best at it. So coming into it the second time, especially in a cool down, they get to really feel the juiciness of it. All right, when you're ready, you can take a little lie onto your back. Bending those, just do whatever you want to do. Soles of the feet together, open your knees out and just bring your hands onto your belly. And then you can finish them off here with a few deep breaths. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, just letting them find that relaxation, that little connection back into the bodies, before you get them back up into the real world. Beck, you can stay there. But that is your class, your Pilates mat class done. So it's a dynamic and challenging Pilates class that flows. So main focus is working on dynamic or changes of tempo. So we did those fast movements versus your slow controlled movement. It is still a Pilates mat class, so you still need to have that element of stability and control and, you know, really working into those little muscle groups and really isolating muscles, but then giving them like a fast movement that's still working those muscles, but it's more of a compound movement, or like, you know, working both upper body and lower body at the same time, or multiple things at once. You're adding in that challenge of lifting the heart rate. So whenever you work on multiple muscle groups at once, you're going to lift that heart rate. Whenever you take hands overhead, like those shoulder presses, you're going to really lift that heart rate. So we did high heart rate stuff and then brought it back down, really slow controlled movements. But there was challenge in both. So there's still challenge in those fast movements, but there's still challenge in those slow movements. But giving a bit of both feels really good, and it actually feels like you can do the whole class because you're chopping and changing between the two. And you're not just doing like really intense, slow, forced movements like the whole class. We also worked with So your combinations of exercises, so looking at your squats to curtsy lunges, so combining two exercises together to create challenge, to create coordination, and to create that dynamicness of the class. So whenever you think about how you're going to link into something else, so I didn't get you just straight into curtsy lunges, which I absolutely could have. I wanted to bring a bit more of a dynamic feel to the class, so I comboed two exercises together and kept people moving before you get into, you know, the actual exercises, which was your curtsy lunge and your tricep extensions and your hold, the heel lift and things like that. So exercise combinations. Playing with tempo is a really big one. You want to have really upbeat music for your dynamic classes, so just make sure that your playlists for your classes are curated as well to fit your class. So you don't want to put a really slow flowing playlist on and have it as background music. You need to have punchy music. I love, for like a dynamic Pilates class, going for like 120 to 130 BPM. 120 is like a really nice safe place to be for Pilates classes, and it's usually where I opt. But if I'm doing more of a dynamic class, I am probably going to go more towards your 125, 130 BPM in your music, just so that it gives it that little bit more intensity, and then people can kind of follow the beat of the music because it is that little bit faster. So in those faster paced tempoed movements, they're going to feel the energy of the songs as well. So a few little tips there to help you with your dynamic and challenging classes. Also, don't forget about your props. I had 2 props today, and my prop choice was very, like, I really thought about it. I went for 2 kilos because I wanted it to have that stronger challenge. We also did movements where you can use larger or heavier weights as well, like shoulder presses and bicep curls, not like really, really tiny little movements. So I went for the 2 kilos, but you can always give that option of 1 kilo. And I also gave Beck the ankle weights for the whole class. But just know, if you are going to use like ankle weights for a whole class, give people the option to take them off if they need to, especially in the core stuff. If they're done with them and they don't want that extra challenge for core, because maybe core is challenging for them already, just make sure you can take your ankle weights off here. You don't have to use them for this part of the class. This is just an option if you want to level it up a bit. So prop choice is a big one that can make it stronger for your, you know, existing clients or your regular clients, and you're still appealing to those more beginners in your class as well. So there are a few tips for your strong and dynamic classes. I hope you enjoyed our masterclass. Beck's asleep now. I just let her be. You don't have to move. You can just do a little wave from down there. That's why I always love letting people kind of lay before I bring them out into the world. She's so relaxed now after all that. She worked very hard, very deserving of that little lie down. But that is your masterclass for today, for your strong dynamic Pilates mat class. I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Liana. I'll probably see you all very soon. This is beautiful Beck. And yeah, leave some comments if you want, add some questions. I'm happy to reply to you guys and yeah, reply onto any questions that you might have about this video and about my sequencing and about my exercise choice and things like that. So please go to the community groups and pop any questions that you have in. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. But that is us all done. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys all again very, very soon. Thank you.